Hi everyone, it's Kurt with Axtreme-Guitar, and today we're going to go over Sweet Child of Mine, the main riff. This is one of my favorites. It actually is one of the first that I was avidly looking to learn when I first started playing guitar. And I certainly made a lot of mistakes in the process, but we're going to walk through that for this video. So one of the first things that you need to do if you plan on playing along with the song is make sure that you are tuned a half step down. It is standard tuning but a half step down, which means that instead of E, A, D, G, B, E, it's going to be all of those notes but flat. So E flat, A flat, D flat, and so on. So you want to make sure you do that first, and then you'll be able to match up with my guitar. Now that we have our guitar tuned, moving forward I'm just going to refer to all the notes as if we hadn't dropped down the step. Rather than saying on the E flat string or on the G flat string, I'm just going to say the E string, the A string, the G string, and so on, just to make it easier. We're primarily going to be focusing on everything from the 12th fret to the 15th fret. We won't be going outside of that box. Now the first thing that we're going to do is place our index finger on the D string 12th fret, because the first chord which sets the tone for the song starting in the key of D. So we're going to take this 12th fret on the D string, and we're also going to go one octave higher, which means that we're going to go to skip a string, the G string, and go to the B string, and we're going to go to the 15th fret, so it's exactly an octave. Now the trick with this is, if you've never done it before, you're going to have to learn how to play each note without allowing other strings to interfere. You don't want it to sound like a chord. You want them to be individual, so you have to pick the note, and then just as you're picking the next note, you're going to take the previous finger off. So my index finger's down first, and then it comes up as I go to the next string. And then the next one, so if you notice, each time that I place my finger down to fret the next note, a finger comes up. So it's kind of like a seesaw. One finger comes down on one fret, and then when you go to the next one, the other one comes off. And it just keeps doing that each time. But you have to do it in such tight synchronization that it's hard to notice the gap. Now, one of the things that's going to also be a little difficult is shifting from one string to the next without accidentally hitting a wrong note. So for the first step of this process, as I said before, we're going to start on the D string 12th fret, which is a D note, and then we're going to skip the G string and go to the 15th fret of the B string, which is also a D but is an octave higher than the 12th fret of the D string. And the way that your hand should be placed would look a lot like mine. Having it placed this way, I'm almost already into the next position that I need to go in, because I'm going to go index finger, pinky, and then my ring finger comes down on the G string 14th fret. So again, we go index finger, 12th fret, D string, pinky, 15th fret, B string, and then ring finger, 14th fret, G string, and you go right down to the 12th fret on the same string, that G string, with your index finger. And from here, we're going to bring our pinky And if you notice, there's a lot of octaves going on in here. So we have the first, and then we do this step down from the ring finger on the 14th fret of the G string, and then go to the 12th fret of the G string, which this makes this note a G because it's the 12th fret, which is an octave. So this is a G, and now we're gonna go to the 15th fret of the E string at the bottom, but that happens to also be an octave. Now back to what we were originally going over. So we have the D, where we're starting on the 12th fret of the D string, going to the pinky on the B string 15, and then we go 14th fret G, and then 12th fret G. And then to get the octave of this part, we go to the 15th fret of the E string. And then the next move, you can see my ring finger is hovering right over the next string that's gonna be used. And that's gonna be back to the G string down here on the 14th fret. And then I come back to the E string with my pinky on the 14th fret. And again, 14th fret G string. So we have and then what we just did, 15 E, 14 G, 14 E, 14 G. So the tricky part is going to be shifting across the strings. So you would think that you have what you need right now, but there's still more movement going on. So the general shape of this riff is, but the first note to start it off is going to change at each section because the song goes from the D chord and then it goes to a C and then a G and then back to the D again. So we're going to start on the D, and then when they move to the C, instead of starting here on the 12th fret of the D, I'm going to start on the 14th fret of the D. So we're going exactly the same everywhere else, is just on this first note, instead of a D on the 12th fret, we're going to use our middle finger and still do all the same things that we did before. So it'll be a little confusing at first, but we're going to go middle, 14th fret D string, and you do that twice. And then the next step is going to be going to the G, because they changed to the G chord. We're actually going to go to the 12th fret of the G string. So in step 1, we were working on the D on the 12th fret. In step 2, we were going from 14th fret of the D string. Now, in step 3, we're going to go from the 12th fret of the G string, which is the 3rd string, going up this way. 3rd string, 12th fret, G string. And everything else is the same except for that first note. Within each of the steps, we're doing the same things with exception to the first note, like I said before. D on the 12th fret of the D string, then 14th fret of the D string, and then G, which is the 12th fret of the 3rd string, or G string. And that covers each part of the riff. Now you do each one of those sections twice. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now you might wonder, why did I just do that 4 times? Because that main riff is played twice the first time, and then to start it over you have to play it twice again to start the entire process over. That's when the other guitar comes in doing their little, and then the bass does their thing and the drums are doing their thing, and it's just part of the intro. The next piece is when they come to the very end and they're doing the piece with the pinky on the end. So that part there is what we'll call section 4. So I think the easiest way to go about playing this outro part of the intro is to play the pattern from the G point. So that would be, so you play it one time, and then the second time is where we're going to do the little pinky and ring finger part. If I play it right. So again, at the end of that G point, we're doing the, and then I shift. So I'm going from the 15 to the 14, and then I bring my pointer finger in to the 12th fret of the E string. So 15, 14, and then 12, and then the pinky is going to go to the 15th fret of the B string, and then back again to the 12th fret of the E, and then 14, and then 15, and then 14, and 12, and then 15 on the B string. So it's really just, but you have to do that with the 14th fret on the G string in between each one. This is going to go in between each one, so it's your right hand is going to be bouncing back and forth, which can be a little bit tricky if you don't want to hit that open B string by accident. What I tend to do is lay my hand a little bit against each of the strings. It's hard to get a good view, but so that's something to practice, to get used to, because it took me a little while myself getting to that without having mistakes, but it is definitely rewarding once you get past that. Now at this point of the video, I will play a slower version of this that you can try to play along with. And it actually, if you're newer to this and having a lot of trouble with the notes running together and just sounding messy, it might make sense to just put it on clean and do it that way. So that'll be a bit more forgiving in the beginning while you're trying to just learn how to do this, and later on you can start adding the distortion to it, and that will add another degree of complication, because once you've learned how to do it, then you can work on the technique and keeping other strings quiet and bad notes out. So I hope the video was helpful in learning how to play the main riff of Sweet Child of Mine. If you have any thoughts, opinions, or questions about it, feel free to leave it in the description below, or you can reach me at my email address. I'm always interested in what people have to say. Do you have a request for a song that you'd like to see, or a technique I can run through for you? Let me know. Also, check out my website where I have free resources for home practice, and I'm working on a guitar blog as well as a tablature page. Be sure to click on the subscribe button below and hit the little bell next to it to make sure that you stay notified of all the videos that I post when I post them. If you like the video, click that like button, and I will see you next time.